Hi, everyone. Life Coach Carissa back with you today to talk about a topic that I am certain we can all relate to. This is called Why Can't We All Just Get Along? I decided to highlight this as a topic for conversation because of how often I run into this in my coaching practice. So many of us have these likes and dislikes of people. I know I have had this a lot in my life, right? And it truly causes us so much distraction from doing what we really want and should be doing in our life, and oh, so much frustration, right? Well, if I can help someone evolve in this regard, it is a beautiful thing to make our life more joyful and lighter. That is my goal. So today I'm going to be sharing why this happens, what keeps us repeating these patterns of behavior, and what we can do if we want to evolve beyond the results that we're typically seeing in our lives when it comes to relationships with existing people in our lives or new people that come in our lives. And we've all experienced this. I know we have. Some people we are more fond of than others. Sometimes we can choose who we want to spend our time with, but what do we do when we have to spend time with someone because they are family or a coworker or a child's teacher or someone that maybe we're required to interact with because simply we have mutual companies that do business together, like a customer? I mean, heck, sometimes we don't even like strangers that we meet, and our interaction with them is just going to maybe be temporary. So I'm certain that we've all been there. And why have we all been there? Well, mainly because we are all human. That is why. We are all made with this same brain that has served us well to keep us safe and survive danger. But it isn't always the most helpful in supporting us in social situations. It isn't the most helpful in giving us a clean slate every time we meet someone new. It's equipped to be constantly scanning for danger and threats. Therefore, past experiences come into play. In fact, part of our brain spends its time scanning for thoughts and memories and sensations. I mean, something that you smell, taste, hear, or touch can be a trigger of something that we remember, and it warns us of some sort of negativity or danger. Subconsciously, they can cause us to act in certain ways because of what is happening behind the scenes in our brain activity. It really is fascinating. But again, does it help us when we are interacting with someone or trying to build or sustain a relationship? Not always. So I have shared a little bit about why this happens. It's the human brain at work. But to put it directly, it's our human brain at work without supervision and guidance. And that's where we come in, because we repeat these behaviors because it's familiar, a well-worn neural pathway in our brain. This is how we react to threats. This is what we typically say. This is what we do. My brain is constantly scanning for these threats and dangers, so I refer back to past experiences and senses. And as soon as a negative threat is noticed, I will react in the habitual ways that I always do. That's how this pattern works. But my mission is to say, hey, there's another way. We can move beyond this primitive brain of ours and use our intelligent brain to do better, to think new things, to understand the triggers that we have, to have an understanding that, yes, this is how we are wired to scan for threats and danger for survival. But that does not mean that this situation or circumstance that I'm in right now with another person requires or means that I need to get defensive about something, or maybe to draw a line in the sand, right? And I'm going to place this person in the good column and this person in the bad column. And these people are on my watch list. Do you have one of those? I know I did. So I want us to interrupt these default autopilot behaviors and intentionally choose based on facts, not stories, and to also bring in some compassion for humanity and that we are not all the same. We don't all believe the same things. We don't have the same experiences. We all don't repeat the same thoughts in our brain. Our thoughts come from our past experiences. They're different for every single person. So this really comes down to individual responsibility. Children are not born with the black and white thinking that we find ourselves having as we grow older. They are open to everyone. They have no reason to dislike without a cause. This comes over time of experiencing the world and not managing our thoughts and behaviors that get stored away in our minds for future reference. So I want to ask you, do you have trouble getting along with people? This really requires an honest and non-judgmental practice. But here are some questions that you could reflect on and maybe journal about to get into deeper of why you may find yourself in the position you are with certain individuals. Do I get along with most people? Why do I think that I don't get along with some people? What patterns or commonalities do I notice with those that I struggle to get along with? Because there always is typically something, right? We can notice a pattern. It's very insightful if we can find those. Maybe I'm lacking some flexibility to accept people as they are. Is that it? Or do I struggle to have compassion for people living their own 50-50 life, their own 50-50 human life? Do I even consider this aspect that we're all struggling to live this 50-50 life we've been given? Do I have this belief that everyone should behave in certain ways? Am I just repeating autopilot behaviors just because it's familiar to me? So over the course of a week, ask yourself, how often do I have negative interactions with people? And by negative interactions, I mean when you feel a negative emotion in your body just from communicating with that person. Those questions can be so powerful and help you uncover why you may not get along with some people and help break down this rigid thinking that just needs to be opened up a little bit. And when we do open that up, we can see other possibilities, we can see other options that are available to us. You know, so many of the concepts that I teach in my coaching practice really do support and improve our ability to get along with people. It kind of all comes together. Concepts that you may have heard me talk about, such as our thoughts or the model, story versus fact, people pleasing, feelings, and the 50-50 life concept. Many of these concepts are at play when we find that we can't get along with people. And so you can learn a lot from these different concepts and how they are what's underneath the surface of why you can't get along with this person. So if you're ever interested, you could find previous recordings about these concepts on my channel, and you could revisit those and dig into them each a little bit deeper. So I wanted to figure out what are the top reasons why we can't get along with people. And some of the top ones that come up are being inflexible, being unwilling to accept our differences with others, having a lack of care or concern, which could just be a little bit of, selfishness and focus on ourselves. Maybe it's differing communication styles and the impact of previous conflicts and experiences that we've had in our life coming into play. I believe the biggest driver in our inability to get along with people is rooted in our thoughts about them. If I think something positive about you and I focus on what's positive about you, I am going to like you. And most likely, because I like you, I'm going to get along with you. And if I have negative thoughts about you, I'm going to have fewer odds of getting along with you. This is why our thoughts are so important. Are they subconscious thoughts? Are they based on stories or facts? Does something about this person remind me of a bad experience from my past? Did they say or do something that triggered a past memory or experience of mine? And so I feel this inner negativity coming up. Another big reason is the manuals that we have on people because we believe they should behave in certain ways or do things the way that our brain likes them to be done. We can't reconcile with that, right? So having manuals on others simply causes us discomfort. When we can throw away our manuals on people and we can work on accepting them for the person that they are, with all of their good and bad, positive and negative traits, we can create space and allow them to be their unique selves, even when we don't agree or like how they do or say something. So a lot of what I've shared so far is for you to go within and seek more information as to why you don't get along with some people. I want to leave you with some tips that you could focus on to figuring out why that may be. Or I should say tips for how to just overall get along better with individuals, right? So number one, be a good listener. Most of us listen to respond. I have been so guilty of this, but try to hear what they're saying and show an interest in what they are sharing with you. Number 2, keep an open mind. Remember, I talked about that black and white thinking habit that our brain gets into? Well, we want to open up to the fact that we could benefit from thinking new things and changing our past beliefs, or at the very least, letting people be as they are without our desire to change them. Maybe it's just being open and trying to understand and have more compassion for how they are. Number 3, try to be authentically polite and positive. Improving these 2 traits alone can do so much for breaking down walls that get built up in our new or existing relationships. Number 4, repair the small issues. This is so important. Repair the small issues to prevent them from growing into something much larger. That could require apologizing or at least being able to discuss where you agree or disagree in a responsible, loving way. And number 5, be honest with your communication, even if that means exposing yourself to being vulnerable, which may be uncomfortable to you. And watch that people pleasing, because truly people pleasing in a way is lying and being very inauthentic, and good relationships cannot be built upon that. All right, everyone, I hope you find those tips helpful, and I hope that you find this information helpful overall for increasing your ability to get along with people. Maybe you don't have an issue with this, but it can still help you to better understand those that do struggle to get along with people. Maybe you're someone that you recognize that in others and you wish that you could help that, right? These are maybe some tips that you could maybe share with them, right? So if you are someone that does struggle to get along with people in your life, I hope this information can settle into your mind and give you some new things to think about and new tools to work with so that you can find a lighter, more joyful ability in creating relationships, building relationships, and sustaining them. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. As always, if you enjoyed the content in this video, please do me a favor and click that thumbs up like button for me. This can help get my message out to more viewers, and I am so grateful for my followers. I create these videos to help people, to help us learn new tools, to reduce our self-imposed pain and suffering. And thank you for doing this self-reflection. You can only gain when you do this work. I promise you that. Until next time, I wish you better relationships, improved relationships, and more compassion and understanding. We can all use that, myself included. All right, everyone. Have a great day, and I will see you in a couple weeks.